What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, as always, I'm joined by Chad Tynes.
What's up, what's up?
And Chris Abercon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So, welcome to another topic episode. So, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, and then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from Reuters.com, written by Jesse Pang, and the title of this one is Hong Kong aims to safeguard key facilities with new cybersecurity law, right? So these Asian countries are getting hip to the game, right? So even though Hong Kong is somewhat independent to do things on its own, we all know it's kind of just a little offshoot of, not a little, but an offshoot of China, right? But we talked about this, it was a couple weeks ago, I believe, where we talked about Japan getting better when it came to this, right? Like getting better with their cybersecurity, because I was shocked. I was kind of like, I thought they would already be on this train, you know, with all the technology that they put out of that country and whatnot. Hong Kong is following suit pretty much, and they're levying some pretty substantial
giant robots and Godzilla. Gotta be protected.
You know what I mean? They make the Jaegers over there, right? From Pacific Rim, you know. I'm just being funny, but it seems like something that would happen when it comes to that time in the future, right? Japan will be the one producing them, but they talk about levying some pretty heavy fines too, right, for not reporting cybersecurity incidents, right, and penalties, and they say it's up to 5 million Hong Kong dollars, which is 640,000. Which I get it. Like some of these companies are like, it's whatever, but they're talking about even fining by the day for non-compliance, right? So I'm like, dang, like they're getting real serious about it. So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like Hong Kong saw fit to do this, or China was like, hey, this is what we're doing today. You know what I mean? And was like, China knows what cybersecurity threats are out there. We all know this, right? Like there's no hiding it. We talk about it. It seems every other week we can attribute something to Russia, China.
You know that scene in Breaking Bad? I am the danger. Right?
I've never seen Breaking Bad, but yes,
yeah, just like that.
But that's what it is, right? So like they know what they are out there doing, so they know what they need to protect against, right? Because there was a point in the previous administration where we were getting a little offensive. Like we weren't waiting for somebody to come at us. Like we were going out and doing things on our own, right? So I think it's anticipation of that happening, right? With, you know, things are heating up, right? Not necessarily against Hong Kong, but against China, against Russia, against North Korea. So I think they're just trying to get all their ducks in a row to be like, hey, we need to make sure we protect the things that we go after when we start going into these other countries to deal with them, right? But yeah, it's an interesting article, and them talking about it's good to see, but I think the reasoning behind it is there's a little ambiguity there on why they're doing it, right? Not for the reasons necessarily reported in the article. But Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, absolutely. I think they're kind of following suit with some of the regulations, you know, with, for example, SEC ruling in the US. And I know Europe has various, you know, I'm sure each European country has different regulations regarding this, right? So it's very interesting to see. One thing that I did want to note as well is the bill, while it covers, you know, multiple sectors, and I think it targets specifically 8 sectors and industries. It's like banking, energy, IT, healthcare, transportation. That's kind of critical infrastructure. But they also cover, the bill in the article says, which also covers major sports and performance venues and research and development parks. And it also says they're mandating annual security risk assessments and an independent security audit every 2 years. So I think the concerns from like the business end is the same as ours, right? Like with CMMC, it's like, we got to start, you know, putting money into our cybersecurity programs. We got to start putting money into our cybersecurity technologies and, you know, resourcing and manning, right? So it's that as well. So I'm curious to see how China is going to handle that from like a tax credit perspective, because obviously when you're talking, you know, business side, like if they don't have a mature program and all of a sudden, hey dudes, you guys have to do a security audit every 2 years and you got to do annual risk assessments, they're going to be floored like, oh, crap, we don't have anything, right? So it's going to be really interesting from their end, like, and then they're going to fine for non-compliance. So dang, we don't know how that's going to work, right? Like, hey, they don't have an access management program, or, you know, they don't have, you know, personal security screening requirements and stuff like that. We don't know the details. Like, how is China going to determine, are these security risk assessments being to be passed to the government? Are they going to know security posture of all these companies or these industries. We'll see, right? And it's probably more on the reporting end, but like verifying security risk assessments and stuff like that. That's why like CMMC exists, right? It's to verify that companies are doing, like these contractors, subcontractors are doing what they're supposed to be doing to protect, CUI. Or in this case, for the Chinese, it's just like, hey, protecting your critical infrastructure, that can negatively impact citizens in Hong Kong, right? So it's really interesting. But I think they do say law takes into effect in 2 years, right? And they're saying it managed reporting of security incidents within 2 hours. 2 hours, man. And serious security incidents, right? So what is a serious security incident from the Chinese government perspective, right? We don't know. What's their red line, right? That's interesting. But also, I think some concerns of what would be foreign investors, right? The reason why Hong Kong, it's had its special, administrative region, right? SAR, I think it's easier to open a business or start a business in Hong Kong than it is anywhere in the world, which is crazy, right? So what does that impact from the business standpoint? Like a company or, manufacturers like, hey, we want to build in Hong Kong or whatever. There's going to be more, investment because of the cybersecurity requirement. And so there's that thing to consider. Are people going to be deterred to invest into, set up shop in Hong Kong because of this? Right? We'll see. Just speculation here. But Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a weird thought experiment, right? Because I'm Team USA all day, right? Patriot.
Team USA.
I believe red, white, blue. But when you see this, you say, like, what do they protect themselves from, right? Because we know, like, the heavy hitters on I don't know what you would call them, right? The access. Let's go back to one of the world wars, right? You got your Syria, your China, your Iran, and let's say North Korea, right? Like, we know that they're big players. They're always attacking the West. So we know that the U.S. does, operations where we're also poking, at our adversaries. But you never think about how it's portrayed on the other side. So I did. It was hard. Like, when I say hard, it took me more than 3 or 4 attempts through ChatGPT, but I found an article. So I found one from China's perspective, right? It says Chinese national cyber centers say U.S. stole trade secrets from tech firms, right? This was December 18th of last year. Beijing reported that China's National Internet Emergency Response Center, all spelled wrong, right? It's ER, all right? It's America, not RE in center, but said that on Wednesday it had found and dealt with 2 incidents of U.S. cyber attacks on Chinese tech firms to steal trade secrets that had been, I'm paraphrasing, but it had been a APT since May of 2003. So a long time. Supposedly the U.S. was in their systems, to poke around, just take a little look-see. Strolling around Beijing's data servers.
Look, at that point, aren't we just looking at our own stuff from all the IP that they stole? Like,
we're just trying to see what they stole from us. But it's just it's funny to see it from the other side's perspective, right? And they don't attribute it to being a state actor or I was trying to really see if they had like U.S. APTs, like what would they call them, right? Like would it like Eagle Joe, Smokey and the Bear? I don't know. Like what would they? Because we always have cool names, like Cowboy. Because we always have like Jade this or Jade that, or Bear this or Bear that for Russia. So it's very interesting to see it from the adversaries in this case's perspective. So I can see why they would want to implement these rules. What kind of irks me though is their expedience, right? Like, it just seems like everyone else is able to correct the ship a little bit quicker than the U.S. Not to say that we didn't start before, right? We saw this being a threat. Several of our administrations over time have made steps to mitigate said threat. However, politics and red tape always seem to slow things down and hamper the disbursement of money, where you have the EU and the UK, Canada, and some of our other Western partners and allies are able to just move a little bit faster. They don't have as much capital to spend, right? They can't drop billions of dollars like we do all the time, but they're able to make these corrections to protect their citizenship. And over here, we always like, it's, you're impeding freedom and things of that nature. They have freedom to get my stuff stolen, is what it feels like. But then you have China in this instance is like, hey, Hong Kong, fix this, because we're tired of the U.S. stealing our intellectual property. Maybe, I don't know. Because again, I'm Team USA, but it's to say that they're able to move a little bit faster. They don't have the budget we have, but they have less red tape, which irks me. that they're able to move much quicker than we can.
But we have red tape because it's intentional, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and say we can't do it. It's that we won't do it. I'll tell you what we have better than all these other countries, man. We have better lobbying firms. That's what we have than these other countries.
100%.
Touche. That's very true. It kind of baffles my mind. Hopefully, we get back on track, right? We start to. I don't know what that's going to be like. This year is going to be rough with, the shrinking of certain departments that do protect us, and our cybersecurity presence, our posture seems to be a little bit weaker. However, it seems that the adversary is moving a little bit faster, and we love to race, we love a competition. Perhaps this will pique the interest of those who are in power to say, "Oh, look what China is doing. We should probably do better in this instance." So hopefully, it kind of spurs them to get it back on track. But we'll see. Again, every administration is different. Like even this administration to the last time they were there is different, right? With their goals and what have you. So maybe after we clear this first year or so, we'll get back on track. But as you can see, China's not playing around. China's definitely trying to get their ducks in a row, especially because apparently we've been poking around in their systems for several years without detection. Allegedly, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Allegedly, this is propaganda. All right, the U.S. would never do such things.
Never do.
But yeah, I thought it was a cool article, and it did make me think outside of the box, right? Like to see, like, hey, can I find information or from the other perspective? I won't do that anymore, though. ChatGPT's watching me. All right, I'm still Team USA. But thank you for checking us out again. Monday and Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP, and then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. And then you can hit us up by the websites, The Other Side of the Firewall, The Other Side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. You can also hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on a lot of different platforms, but LinkedIn is where I will probably get back to you the quickest. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon, last name spelled A. Bacon.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.